Hello and welcome to my country garden. Today I thought I'd do something a little bit different. I thought I would tell you my origin story. And by that I mean where I came from and how I got to where I am now. And what I'll do is we'll just go around the garden, have a look at how things are doing, and I'll talk a little bit about why I do certain things in the garden, and also hopefully there'll be some harvests and there'll be some other little tasks to accomplish along the way. So first things first though, where do I come from? Well, my accent's a bit of a giveaway because I'm from a city in west central Scotland called Glasgow. It has a bit of a reputation of being quite a big, dangerous city to live in. It's no more dangerous than any other city in the country, I would say, certainly in the UK. But I lived a lot of years in Glasgow, but gradually have migrated out of Glasgow to other parts of the country. And I'm as rural now as I have ever been.
Just where it was needed, gleaming black as night, cloistered in injustice, dead.
Okay, while I carry on my tale, I'm down here next to the polytunnel at the triangular bed that's usually full of spring bulbs, and I'm going to put in 4 winter squash. So I've got 2 Crown Prince and 2 butternut variety Hunter. There's also a Brunnera sitting in the middle. I'm just going to leave that there. Am I? Yeah, I'm just going to leave that there and see what happens. It might get, is it going to get completely annihilated? We'll see. I might take it out if I think it's going to get suffocated. But anyway, yeah, so I've got these 4 squash I'm going to put into this bed, and let's carry on. So, as I said, I'm from Glasgow. I'm from an area in Glasgow called Maryhill, which is quite a down-to-earth area. I'm the 5th, the youngest of 5 children. My dad died when I was 3, and so my mum had to do all of the work to bring me up, along with my brothers, 4 older brothers. And while we were poor, there's no doubt about that, it was a great childhood, it really was. I lived in a tenement, and a tenement is just, I'll try and put a picture of a tenement up actually for those of you that aren't sure. I think maybe in America they call them brownstones. It wasn't a very posh tenement, it has to be said, but there was a great feeling of community in it. And so that's where I was for my first 12 years, basically having great fun. Anytime I wasn't at school, I was out playing with my friends until it was dark or until my mum shouted me in. And even if my mum shouted me in, quite often I'd hide and stay out longer. Nowadays, just can't do that. I'm sure there would be police called, etc. But in those days, that's what we all did. It was great fun. Because I lived in a tenement, there was no garden to be seen. Out the back, where the bin shelters were, we called it the back, not even the back court or anything. We just said, I'm going out the back. And it was grey, it was messy. There was rats in some of the refuse areas and so on. But it was a typical city setting, and we didn't know any better, so got on with it. So there wasn't any what I'm trying to say is there wasn't any gardening, certainly at that time in my life. And even when I moved on, we moved from there to another slightly more posh tenement in Glasgow. And even there wasn't any garden. So no gardening in my heritage, if you know what I mean. Then I bought my first flat, and again it was a tenement, but it wasn't in Glasgow, it was outside Glasgow, and again no gardening. And then I bought my first house, and it did have a garden, but I didn't do much with it. I wasn't into gardening at that point. I was into horses and spent 21 years riding horses, competing horses, eventing, show jumping, dressage, judging dressage. So yeah, a lot of horses in my past. But then eventually I got to a house, and that would be 20 years ago, which isn't long in the scheme of things. But about 20 years ago, I started really taking gardening seriously. And I haven't stopped since then. Okay, that will do that. There we go. 4 squash and a little brunnera in the bed now. I'll give these a water and hopefully they will do well. I need a brush. Clearing up after chickens does become a bit of a theme in my gardening, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later. So yes, about 20 years ago, I purchased 20 years ago, might be about 25 years ago actually, I purchased my first house with a fairly large garden. But that garden, it was a new house, it was in the site of an old cottage hospital, so we had the original wall around, we were in the corner site, original wall around part of our garden, and it was basically a blank canvas, it was just grass. So that's when I had my first opportunity to make it into something. And I was learning as I went, and it wasn't really YouTube in those days, it was gardening programs and reading books and so on. And I gradually transformed it into my little haven, our little haven actually, my husband and I. I would say at this point my husband isn't into gardening. He does love the garden, particularly the chickens in the garden, but he's not into gardening, and that is absolutely fine because this is my domain. He does all sorts of other things, but no, gardening is for me. So yeah, I eventually transformed this blank canvas into a garden that probably was 3/4 flowers and shrubs and so on, building it up to be what it finally became. And I'll pop some stills up, or maybe even some video footage if I can find some of that that's relevant, and I'll pop that up and you can see what it was like. But all you have to do is look through my back catalogue and you will see all sorts of videos, hundreds of videos set in my garden in my previous house. And I was really proud of what I did. But I then became more interested in growing food and was starting to try and fill any additional space that I had with beds to grow fruit and veg. And I sort of eventually filled everything up. And the only thing I could do to grow more food was to get rid of some of my flowers and shrubs, and I didn't really want to do that. The garden I'm in now has got much more growing space, and I'll talk a bit more about that. But I haven't gone completely the other way, so I haven't gone from growing I haven't gone from growing flowers to growing fruit and veg completely. I am doing my best to fill this garden with as much colour as I can as well. So you can see here there's a row of 4 metal little circular beds, and I have sowed loads of flower seeds this year, and I've sort of put as many as many young plants into these beds, flower plants into these beds as possible. And it won't be long before they're really full to the brim with colour. You can see there that there's some cosmos there starting to flower. We've got some more cosmos here starting to flower, and some calendula. And in this one, there actually is one perennial. There's this astrantia, and look at this, isn't it amazing? So we've got astrantia. I've got these poppies, love affair, that I grew from my own seed from last year. I forgot how large the plants are, so this bed's okay. You can see I've got lots of other things in here, including some snapdragons. But this next bed, I think I put 3 of the poppy plants in here, and it's sort of suffocating out some of the other things, I think. But you can see there's a snapdragon there, there's some cornflowers, there's some more cosmos, and there's some cosmos at the back there. Yep, some metal, ignore that. Here we have some Rudbeckia. No, it's not, it's Shasta daisies, that's what it is, although this is a weed, so we'll get rid of that. So yeah, these are Shasta daisies that come back year on year. There's another weed. They're hiding in plain sight, aren't they? Is that them all? Can you see any more? Shout if you can. I think that's them. Let's pop them in the compost, and you can have a laugh at my compost bin. And the weeds around the compost bin. A bit full, and a bit full of potatoes. Oh dear. Work to be done there. This is a bed that I have just created. This area was full of brambles and cleavers and nettles and ivy. So I dug as much of it up as I could, and then I covered it in weed suppressant fabric. I've cut holes in the weed suppressant fabric for the plants that I've got in here, and actually these 3 I bought at the Scottish Garden Festival that I was at a couple of weeks ago. My last video shows you a little bit of footage from there. So you can see I've got a lovely hydrangea, beautiful lupin, and this is geum. They're just dying off, but they'll come back again with some more flowers. Now, it's ugly at the back, yes of course, because I'm just chipping away at this pretty big garden actually. So you can see that there's a couple of plastic boxes here with old slates in, and I need to get those moved. And then there's a mass of deep undergrowth or deep overgrowth with nettles and brambles and you name it in there. I can't cut that back at the moment because I believe there's still a pigeon nesting in there. It may have finished now, but I'm just giving it a little bit extra time. So that's going to be on the cards. In my last video, I created, well, I didn't create this bed, the bed's here, but I topped up the bed and I planted in some sweet corn and a couple of squashes. There's a little butternut squash in the middle there, and at the end there's a Turk's turban. But again, around it you'll see there's lots more shrubs that and weeds and such like, but again I couldn't take any of that away until the pigeon, which is somewhere in there, has completed hopefully fledging its young. Just got some pots here running up the side of the bed, and they've got plants, some of which I bought and some of which I sowed myself. And before I start talking about the next step in my journey, we can see here in this bed that I have a rogue plant pot that blew there, and I've got 3 courgettes. The courgettes have got the little metal cloches on to stop the chickens getting at them, but they're getting too big for them now, so I'll have to put some anti-chicken netting around, or mesh around this bed so that I can take these cloches off the courgettes. So 3 courgettes there. They're different varieties. There's a one that has your classic dark green fruits. The other one has got lighter green fruits, and there's one that has yellow ball shaped fruits. So I'm hoping I'll have plenty of courgettes this year. And just here, while I'm here, this pot has got some strawberries. They overwintered in here, and then I added some spare onions that I had that were multi-sown, so you can see they're in there, and I'm just letting them do their own thing in that pot. Now I've got a variety of strawberries all over the garden, and I'm starting to see some of them going red, so let's harvest some of those while I talk about the move to this garden here. The knack is getting these harvested when they're quite ripe, but before they get eaten by slugs. So there's a nice one. I have eaten a couple just straight off this plant. Oh no, look. That's exactly what we try and avoid. Poo. That's annoying. Oh, right. Very annoying. There's another one in here that's been eaten too. Right. I'm going to take some that are just not quite there, and I'll try and ripen them inside. Let's see. Because now that one has got a little munch, but I'll tell you this, I'm going to cut that out and that's edible. Let's see. Okay, I think we'll go to another part of the garden. Okie dokie, here's another bed. It's a bit tricky to get into this one, but I'll try my best. I'm starting to see some red. So, still quite white underneath. No, I think those ones are needing to just wait. Let's go to the next bed. Look at that rose, isn't it beautiful? It's not a highly scented one though, but These ones are. And you can just see the flowers nearly opening, and they are amazing scented. Around the back, look at all my potatoes. Whee! Potatoes as far as the eye can see. There's another bed with flowers. There's some peas, and another bed with flowers, and another bed with flowers, and a pot with flowers, and another pot with flowers. So I am trying to grow as many flowers as I can, as well as the fruit and veg. Right, here is another bed. I don't know if there's much in the way of red tomatoes in here. We might just be a little bit early. I've maybe been a bit ambitious. There's one a little bit red at that side, but no. Now, I think I might see another red one here, because we do have some strawberries in this area here. Let's see. And again, that's quite, it's only half and half. Oh well. So, my great strawberry harvest is not a great strawberry harvest as yet, but there's tons of strawberries on the plants, so we'll get plenty more, I'm sure. So we decided a number of years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, that we wanted to move house. We wanted to downsize the size of the house, and we wanted to see if we could get a bigger garden, because although the garden was fairly large, it wasn't huge. And you know, COVID came and went, and as a result of that, both myself and my husband work from home pretty much all the time. I go 1 day a week into the office in Glasgow, but Tom's here all the time and I'm here the rest of the time. So it meant we could increase the search area to, you know, a little bit further than where we could have searched if we were having to go into the office 5 days a week. So we searched and we searched, and then 2.5, 2 3/4 years ago, we moved to this place. I've now moved from West Central Scotland to East Central Scotland, about 60 miles away from where I used to live. And the house was really needing a lot of work done. That's the only reason we could afford it. And the garden was just an overgrown mess. Now, I looked at this overgrown mess and I thought, I could do something with that. But I didn't quite appreciate how much work was going to be involved, truth be known. And it's not that I'm scared of the work, it's just that it takes a lot of time. Working full time, having a life, and trying to tame the garden. So it's not nearly there yet, and you'll see, I'm sure, frequently in my videos, areas of the garden that are just an overgrown mess. But I'm gradually capturing bits of it back, and that's the exciting part of it. And you know, making a bed here or a bed there, and putting different produce or flowers or whatever, or shrubs in. We had to have trees taken down because some of them were in dangerous locations. There was loads of shrubs that had to be removed because it was just, you could hardly see the ground at all in the entire garden. It's 1/6 of an acre. I don't know if that's easy to visualise or not, but and I can't remember what that is in, you know, feet, feet squared or metres squared. But it's probably 3 times the size of my last garden, potentially. So it's given me a lot more scope to do the stuff that I love. Talking of stuff that I love, there's Dottie and Hattie having a dust bath, and there's Jemima, and there's Emily, and Edith will be somewhere, and in the other run we've got Brenda and Winnie. So I love these guys as much, maybe more, than I love gardening. So yeah, we kept chickens when we were in our old house, and I could do, you know, a whole other video on why I keep chickens. It's, yeah, so rewarding. They're fantastic personalities. They're pets with benefits because they give you eggs, and they're just wonderful to have around. When we moved here, I was able to build a much bigger run. It's just about to start raining. A much bigger run or runs, and give them an even larger area to live in. And of course, they get out into the garden anytime I'm in the garden, which is most of the time. I'm just going to turn you around because transmission is about to be delayed by a rain shower. We were due to get rain and thunder, so I hope, well, I like a thunderstorm, but not while I'm trying to video. So I think I'm going to go into the chicken run because it's just in front of me, behind you, and I'll keep out of this rain and I'll carry on there. So yes, I can't envisage not having a garden now. I can't envisage not having chickens in the garden now. But that does come with its own set of challenges. Again, for those of you that have watched my channel for a while, you know that as well as making new beds, sorry Jemima, as well as making new beds and planting things in these beds, I always have got to make sure that I protect the contents of the beds from the chickens. So it may be by putting a cage on, or it may be by putting a sort of little wire fence around it. Excuse me. Because it's not their fault if there's lots of tasty produce available to them that I haven't protected. They will go, they will dig it up, they will scratch around it, they will eat it. And it's my fault if I haven't actually protected it from them. So it does give Tom a problem as well, because if Tom's out in the garden with the chickens without me, he sometimes has to scratch his head and say, oh, I wonder if they're allowed in that bed. Because some of the beds I haven't actually explicitly got wire all the way around. I've just put little protective barriers around some of the shrubs or plants in it. Can you even hear me now? It's chucking it down. So yeah, so Tom has always got a problem with, are they allowed in there? But they're fantastic to have around. I would highly recommend to anybody to get yourself some chickens if you're allowed to keep them in your garden, and or on your allotment actually, and yeah, get yourself some. They're fantastic. And if you are wanting to do that and you do need any advice, please feel free to reach out to me, because I have experienced quite a lot with the chickens, so I usually have advice or an answer for most things relating to them. Oh, it's stopping. Hi girls. Hattie's still out there having a dust bath, but it's sort of partially, the dust bathing area is partially under a tree, so the rain hasn't quite found its way down to her yet. Let me turn you. Okay, I'm in the middle area of the garden, and I think I've got a few peas to harvest. Not tons yet. These are the first peas that I sowed, and it's Douce Provence, the variety. So there's definitely some full pods that I will grab. ones further up are less ready, but that's needing. So I've got a few so far. Yay! Let's try and get a few more. Sitting down on the job here. The rain has all but stopped, which is lovely. Whoops, nearly fell over. That's a wee weed. Let me just show you a closer look at this actually. So here we are at my sitting down level, and you can see there's still lots and lots of pods still to completely ripen. And actually down here you'll see that I put in front of the peas these lovely freckles lettuces, which are definitely ready to harvest as well. Truth be known, the chickens and quail get as much of the lettuces as I do, but it saves a fortune actually in the summer. But let's just have a little, I think I'll take this one, that looks quite nice. Take this one in. I'm just going to there. So this is a little one, there's a couple of chomped leaves, but this is plenty for a lovely salad for me later. So little rinky dinky harvest of strawberries, some of which aren't quite ripe yet, and some peas, little lettuce there. There's some rhubarb over there that I could harvest, but I think I'll just wait till tomorrow to get some of that, because the leaves will be waterlogged at the minute and it'll be a bit wet getting that done. I've got a variety of peas growing around and about, and these are Kent Blue. And you can see these fantastic mauve and pink flowers at the moment. These flowers will turn blue as they get a bit older. They're amazing. That's thus the name, Kent Blue. So they're not ready yet, obviously, because they're still flowers, but these will be harvested as mange tout, and they are delicious. Now, just looking at the back of the bed where the douche Provence peas are, I don't think there's any here ready for harvest yet, no. But this middle area in the garden was one of the first growing areas that I pulled together. So let's have a look and see just what else is growing in here. So you saw the strawberry bed earlier, but I didn't get any strawberries from it yet. There's loads, but not quite ready yet. This is a new bed for this year. It's double height pallet collars, and in this side we have some Calabrese, Stromboli, and it's it's looking very strong. I don't have any Calabrese growing yet. And then over here we've got some onions interplanted with all the year round lettuce, and they're looking great. I've been taking the lettuce out. The lettuce has sort of been getting in the way of the onions a slight bit, but as soon as the lettuce come out, they're fine. So still plenty of growing to do for the onions. These were grown from seed, and so we'll need a good few months yet to get to their final size. In this bed we have a variety of brassicas, and actually I don't know what happened, but something was in this bed overnight and some of the plants were knocked over. I don't think anything is broken or overly eaten, but yeah, I don't know how they managed that. So we've got 3 Brussels sprouts, we've got 3 Calabosse cabbage, we've got 4 Ironman Calabrese, and then we've got 8 Swede. The name's gone. It's under the dirt there somewhere. The Swedes did get a bit mashed, but hopefully they'll bounce back. So I have no idea what's in there because it's netted and there wasn't any gaps in the net. Curious. There was loads and loads of mint in this area when I first came here, and you'll see that it keeps popping back up again. Oh, fantastic. So I'll just cut that back and dry it when the mood takes me. And I did have 3 pots of lovely daffodils and tulips, but they're over, so I'll use these pots for something else. And there's the rhubarb, which is doing fantastic. Then over in this bed, first year I had strawberries in this bed, then I put lettuces in last year, and this year I've got in some brassicas. We can see here that hopefully you can see the mustard has all gone to seed, gone to flower. I've already taken some of that out, hopefully you can see. Over here though, we've got some kohlrabi, and then we've got some lucia cabbage, and then there's a couple of golden acre cabbage over there, and the gap there was where I had more mustard, so I'll pop something else in there, I think. The good news about the mustard going to flower is that I can feed it to the chickens and the quail now, so nothing goes to waste. Oh, sunshine, excellent. Now I can't finish off this video without talking about some other inhabitants or occupants of the garden, namely my quail. Now this is one quail run. I've got a bigger one down at the house, and I've got a smaller one in the chicken run, up high in the chicken run. And little quail have endeared themselves to me for quite a while. Hello, can we get any of you? They're not as domesticated, let's say, as chickens are. And they certainly can't get out of their run because everything would try and eat them. But, hello, are you coming over? Let me see, here we have one of my little girl quail. Sorry, let me get you properly. Here she is. Whoops, there is it. Look at those lovely wings. So, she's a quail. She is, her colouring is called Italian colouring. It's alright, darling. And she is about a year old. There you go. Oops, a daisy. And I've got 4 in there with a boy, and I have got another run, as I say, down at the house, and that's got 4 girls and a boy, and there's a boy and 2 girls inside. You've always got to keep the boys separate. I'll just shut this so they don't escape. So, why do I keep quail? Because they're great little pets. They give you eggs, and yeah, they're super to have, and they're not much, much effort, to be honest. Got to keep them clean, give them lots of greens, give them their quail pellets, and try and give them an environment that they can be fulfilled in, an enriched environment in effect. So yes, so I've got quail, and they are part of my my life now, and have been for 7 years. And yeah, they're good fun too. And quail actually is a good option if you would like to keep something, birds to give you eggs, but maybe you're not allowed chickens in the garden, or your garden isn't large enough. Quail is an option, and you got lovely little quail eggs. Have we got any? Let me see. Oh yeah, there's one. I took the eggs out this morning. Oh, there's 2 in fact. Hello. Hello, hello, thank you. Oh, little girl. Right, here we are, as if by magic. Lovely little quail eggs. Well, I think that's me. I'm now in my probably dream garden. It hasn't become the full dream yet, but eventually I'll hopefully tame it. I'll knock it into shape, and until then, I still enjoy every moment that I spend out here. as does my husband, as do the chickens, and as do the quail, albeit they're not actually out in the garden, they're in their run in the garden. I do hope you've enjoyed this video. It's a little bit of a different one, and I thought long and hard about sharing some of that information. There's nothing controversial there, but some of it's a wee bit more personal than I would usually share. I'd love to hear what you think. Please pop some comments and below, and it would be great to hear what you think about this. If you have enjoyed the video, of course, please give me a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, it would be great if you would consider subscribing to the channel, bolster my subscriber numbers, and that will enable me to reach more people because of the YouTube algorithm. But for now, I'll call a halt. I do hope you've enjoyed it, as I say. For now though, bye-bye.